Have you ever thought about why a prospect would want to pick you rather than their current agent or any other agent that is giving them a call to ask them if they can offer a quote? Why would a prospect pick you? That's an important question because if we can't really figure out how to differentiate yourself, then you're going to get tossed into the bucket of mediocrity. That is a bucket you don't want to be in because it is a bucket that is filled with every other single insurance agent in the United States of America and beyond. And that is the place in which gets thrown to the side. Those are the people who hear the word, no, I'm busy right now, we're happy with our agent, and you get your hat handed to you. And so in this episode of this podcast, we are going to talk about how to actually put together competitive differentiation. How can you differentiate yourself from your competitors so that they choose you to move forward with? It's the difference between winning and losing. So you better make it really good because nobody wants to lose. So competitive differentiation is important. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. My name is Charles Specht, and I am your host, and I am glad that you are here. Today, we're going to be talking about competitive differentiation, not to be confused with competitive dethronement. I speak about competitive dethronement a lot, as well as differentiation. Competitive dethronement is an aspect of what happens when you have competitive differentiation. But dethronement means we are getting the competition fired. That's the goal. How do you get your competition fired? With competitive differentiation. We have to differentiate you from the rest of the competitors out there, including the incumbent, in order for the insured to see why they should pick you rather than somebody else. Because if they can't decide what makes you different or better, you're just going to get thrown into the bucket of mediocrity. That is a loser's bucket. You don't want that. So I want you just to think for a moment a couple of different sort of scenarios. I want you just to think of yourself individually now as an agent or producer. Okay? I want you to think of yourself as an agent or a producer. First, are you involved in a singular micro niche? And by that I mean, are you really focused in one area of an industry in which to go after? Not just like construction, but maybe something deeper, like roofing contractors or general contractors, something like that. Much more defined, a micro niche. When you're in your micro niche, you start to have branding and a reputation. So it's a little bit easier, I believe, to actually create competitive differentiation when you are focused in a specific and unique micro niche. But if you are not focused in a micro niche, then I would suspect you're much more generalist and PU. A generalist just stinks. A generalist does not actually get what they want. A generalist gets tossed into the bucket of mediocrity so often. It's very difficult for you to establish differentiation with your prospects if they see you as really no different than who they currently have. And that, my friends, is the difference between winning and losing. So competitive differentiation is very important. So if you are not involved in a micro niche, I bet you get your hat handed to you very often. If you're not involved in a micro niche, I bet you probably don't set many appointments. If you're not involved in a micro niche, I bet you don't win many broker of record letters. And if you're not involved in a micro niche, I bet you don't actually win a lot of new business. Because those are the things that happen when you're much more of a generalist. But that's the first aspect. We'll just put that one off to the side for now. We can get back to that. I actually talk a lot about micro niching. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The second part here is I want you to think now, you versus the incumbent agent. Is there anything specifically that differentiates you from your competitor? In other words, if I am the insurance buyer and I have my agent over here, his name's Bob, and I've got Bob as my agent, and you're giving me a call and you want to actually meet with me and learn about my business and offer me a quote and so forth, what makes you think I would be interested in doing that? And secondly, then, what makes you think I am going to choose you rather than trusted Bob? That's differentiation. If you don't have it, you probably don't set many appointments. Competitive differentiation. You don't have it, you don't win broker of record letters. You don't have it, you don't win accounts. You don't have it, you got a small book of business, period. So if I ask you that question, what differentiates you from the individual producer, the other competitor, the main agent right now who's already seated on the throne as the insurance agent's incumbent broker? How can you get that person dethroned? How can you do it? If you don't have that differentiation, that's going to be hard. So when you're asking that question and answering it even to your own self, what makes you different from your other competitors? If you don't know, you're going to have some problems. Take it to a step further. How about your agency now? Is there anything that separates or differentiates your agency from other competing agencies that are out there? Now think about it even in your own geographic territory, wherever you're at, maybe in your city, in your county, and so forth. And then you've got, obviously, around the state, certainly in any kind of micro niche area that you're going after, but maybe even go after some types of accounts that are across the nation. It's much more difficult to brand yourself across the nation unless you're with a very large insurance agency. So I do believe that differentiation becomes more difficult the further out you get away from your actual headquarters. But is there anything that's different about your agency compared to other competitors? If you struggle with that, I bet you don't win many appointments, more broker record letters, or new business. It's probably very challenging for you to do that. So the thing is that competitive differentiation is very often the missing ingredient of success as a producer. If you don't have competitive differentiation, you're going to struggle individually. You're going to struggle as an agency. The good news, however, is that even if you don't have something that you feel is your competitive advantage, your differentiation, that we can create one pretty quickly and start to utilize that even if you don't have something like maybe a loss control department or a workers' compensation department or an attorney on staff who can read contracts and review insurance requirements and things like that. Even if you don't have anybody like that, we can create a competitive differentiation probably in about a day to 2 days. We can get it done. It's just a matter of really figuring out what that's going to look like. We can create competitive differentiation in the insurance space, or we can create competitive differentiation in the micro niche space. It just depends upon what you're going to put together so that you can separate yourself from the rest of the competitors. Now, think about this. Let's say, again, I'm the insurance buyer. I got my insurance agent, Bob. And the type of business that I'm in, let's just say there's 7 carriers out there that really kind of write the business here in my state, which is Tennessee. Bob's got the 7 carriers. You come in and you want to offer a quote as well, but you've got the same carriers Bob does. Bob's got the same carriers you do. What makes the difference between doing business with you and Bob? A few different things we're going to have to take into consideration. My relationship with Bob, and what can you offer me that Bob can't? Those are going to be 2 basic things that have to come into place in regards to you winning the business. Is what kind of relationship do I have with Bob? Are you able to destroy that relationship, to overcome it, to defeat it? And if so, you have to be able to give me something that I'm not getting right now, considering you both have the same markets. And personally, even as an insurance agent or a consultant, I don't think it's wise to divvy up the carriers. I think it makes sense to either let you or Bob, in this example, represent the carriers as you go out to the marketplace. That's just wise. So what is going to differentiate you? How can you put something together in the insurance buyer's mind so that they just begin to salivate over having you as their insurance agent, and what you might be able to help them with regards to lowering costs, lowering claims, and so forth? What can you put together? Well, there are a lot of different things, okay? And I would say the list is smaller in the insurance side, and the list is big in the micro niche side. But again, if you're not a micro niched insurance agent, you are so far behind the 8 ball. Like, get with the program, ladies and gentlemen. There's really no reason why you should not be involved in a micro niche. You need to be singularly devoted to going after one thing. You can only write so many accounts in a year anyway. You only have so much time in which to prospect. You might as well spend your time prospecting in an area that you can dominate. You need to differentiate yourself so that you can compete and dominate and get your competition fired. What is that? What is that one thing? What is that one elusive thing that you're struggling with, trying to figure out what it is? Can I also just maybe give you a little bit of encouragement that I have agency clients that are mom and pop shops, one man, one woman shops. I have smaller agencies. I have medium-sized agencies, and I work with agencies that are big as well. And I can tell you that it's sort of all over the place. But most insurance agencies do not have anything special. Even the big boys and the big girls, for the most part, don't really have too much available. Now, in certain practice groups, they might have developed something a little bit more than the rest of them. But the vast majority of insurance agents, even in the big alphabet houses, don't have access to anything special. They don't. They really, really don't. There are some that do, but most don't. In the same way that there are some smaller insurance agencies that might have some kind of a differentiation, but most do not. Why? Most insurance agencies, for example, don't even hire somebody like a loss control person on staff, a workers' compensation claims management person on staff. Why? Because that's an added expense. Where there, for the most part, there's really not revenue coming in. It's sort of looked at an aspect of service and retention, not really driving in new business. And so many times insurance agencies simply just can't afford the cost of bringing on someone like that. And I say, that's okay. We don't have to do that. You don't have to bring on somebody like that. I really think the producer can do a lot of it, him or herself, maybe a little part of the team, but the service itself does not have to be much. But whatever you create gets to be a differentiation. Now, let's start getting into the brass tacks of this. Let's start being a little bit more objective. I'll try to give you some examples of maybe what a competitive differentiation type of service could be. And again, it's all over the board. But if I just think micro niche for a moment, we'll talk about insurance here in just a sec. But if I just talk micro niche, there's so many different things that it could be. I'll give you some examples from clients I have. I'll give you some examples that I think somebody could do if they just wanted to do it. But I've mentioned before that one of my largest clients has a differentiation service of offering a service to truckers to help them find new drivers. It's a Google Ads campaign that they put together to help their clients find new drivers. That is a differentiation service that the average insurance competitor does not have. And so when you get a chance to brand it and to talk to a competitor, you can say, not only do we have the ability to actually make sure that we are taking care of you so that you are insulated from claim and legal risk by making sure you've got the right insurance coverages and limits and lowering your costs, we also have something that can help you scale and find new drivers. Like, it's a very good reason why they would at least meet with you to find out what you have to offer. Now, this is one of the main parts of having a differentiation, is because it helps you set more appointments almost more than anything else you could possibly do. If you, my friends, my listeners, the loyal listeners of Permission Nation, if you struggle at setting appointments, I encourage you to get a competitive differentiation and begin utilizing it in your scripting and your messaging, your branding, and specifically in your cold calls while you are talking to your prospects. And that you could explain what it is, how it works when they meet with you for 30 minutes. So having that differentiation, like I said, just one that they use in regards to a Google Ads campaign. They typically do it once an account becomes a client. Very simple to do. It's got a little bit of cost to it, but not too much. I had a client who's right now a consulting client. He is a drywall subcontractor, and he got tired of paying money to hire other companies to come and train his people to drive the forklifts around his warehouse. So he created his own training program, and he just has his own people go through it, and he saves like the $5,000 it is, whatever, for them to go through it. I thought, why not? Why couldn't an insurance agent put something like that together? Very simple. Put together some kind of a training so that you can show it to prospects who have forklifts inside their warehouse and so forth, so that they can show that they have been properly trained. and you utilize it in which to get appointments and to win broker of record letters and to win business. You absolutely could. Now, feel free to talk to your agency leadership. Feel free to run it all by your attorneys. Absolutely, maybe you should. But you need to do something, my friends. You need to do something. What if you were one of the many insurance agents out there that go after restaurants? Don't you love restaurants? I love restaurants. I like to eat. I'd love to go to really good restaurants, eat food. I'm actually into Asian food. So if you ever come into town, take me out for Chinese, some Japanese, some Thai food. Man, we'll go all day long. I'll just eat that stuff. Love it. You might be one of those agents that writes a lot of restaurants, or you want to. Think about some of those micro niche problems that restaurants have. They need to figure out how to get more customers. They need to figure out how to upsell the dessert menu or the alcohol menu or whatever. Maybe, and this is what I try to tell people, even if you have any kind of a non-restaurant business that needs local customers, is you could take in-house some of the website design and social media, and maybe you could take over the social media accounts for some of your clients and actually begin to put out some content to try to increase their follower and fan engagement, to then drive more customers to come in and actually utilize their services, to go to the restaurant and actually eat more. Could you do that? I think you probably could. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't really know how to do social media. Well, my answer to you is figure it out. Or there might be somebody at your agency who can do it, or maybe an agency could pay, a couple $1,000s to hire somebody to come in and actually just be the social media marketing person, and you start bringing on new clients and you start doing it for them. You're going to make a lot more money in the long run in regards to the commission that's coming in. You could also just charge these services, by the way, as a fee. You can say, hey, this fee for us helping you find new drivers, it costs $20,000. If you don't want to have us as your insurance agent, we can provide the service for $20,000, or you can simply just become our client. We simply just give this service free of charge to each and every one of our clients. So you get a chance, my friends, to use it like a golden handcuffs approach. Now, those are just a few examples of differentiation services. I hear a lot of really good ones from my clients. You can also just put something simple together like a PDF, top 7 things a plumbing subcontractor can do to find his next big account, 17 things CFOs can do to make their furniture store more profitable. Like, there's a lot of different things you could do. You could put together a loss control program. You could put together some kind of a video program that teaches them how to sell. I mean, aren't you a salesperson? Couldn't you put something together that teaches furniture store people how to sell? I mean, I suspect you probably could if you wanted to. I'm not saying that you should, because maybe you're not that good at sales, but I'm just saying you could, because it is a problem that every business has. What kind of problems do lawyers have? Lawyers are good at law. They're not good at sales. Lawyers are good at law. They are not good at social media. Same thing with accountants. Same thing with surgeons. Same thing with all different types of businesses. They are good at what they do. They just simply don't know a lot of the other things. Well, maybe you don't say, I don't want to figure out social media. I don't want to do all that. Great. Maybe you could do something that one of my coaching clients just told me he's doing this morning. Having a one-on-one coaching conversation, he said he is bringing in somebody to do a seminar for about 50 of his clients and his prospects. He's bringing this person in. This person's going to do a 30, 40-minute seminar on a particular topic that is very concerning to this micro niche. And therefore, he has much higher registration because it is specifically targeted for this micro niche. He's not just saying, hey, we're going to do something that's just all for CFOs. No, it could be something, for example, it is only for CFOs of furniture stores. It is only for lawyers who are doing contract law. The more that you can get micro-niched in it, the better off you're going to be. You're going to have much higher engagement. Doing something like a seminar, very, very simple. So I want you to just think about that. Your competitive differentiation should lead to competitive dethronement. If you don't have differentiation, you won't have dethronement. Now, those are examples of industry-related things. You can do insurance-related things. You can create a safety program for driver safety. I say this to clients all the time. I only have a few clients who actually take me up on it, because it's like one of those things where they are very, I guess, how do I say, they're not comfortable with doing it. And that might be putting together a 12 video program, 12 videos over the course of 12 months. So the one a month that just teaches driving safety habits. And it's them standing in front of a video talking for about 7, 8, 10 minutes about how to make a good right-hand turn and how to use your blinker and all that kind of stuff. And just look both ways. Make sure all your stuff is attached, your trailer's attached, and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because it can be used to then take that information to show that their employees have gone through all of this. You can gather the data and then even bring it to your auto underwriter next year when you're going out for quotes, to then have the underwriter give you additional credits off the premium. Now, you can use this differentiation service not only to help the insurance buyer lower their claims and have safer drivers, but in your branding, in your marketing, in your scripting, you get a chance to tell them that we have our own unique safety program for couriers that actually teaches them better driving habits, which lowers the amount of claims. And at the end of the day, the insurance carriers really like it. And so they very often will lower insurance premiums for us because we have our own auto safety program for couriers. Just an example of something you can put together. You have a basic competitive differentiation service that separates you from everyone else. You will set more new business appointments by far and away. I would suspect anywhere from 3 to 5 times the amount if you do it right, and it is a very good service. Now, the problem here is that you can't create a service that you like. You have to create a service that the insured wants. They have to be able to see the pain point of it. If your service seems like it takes too much time, probably not going to work out. If it seems like it's very cumbersome, might not work out. If they can't really see how it benefits them in the long run, probably not going to work out. So you have to be very clear on what problem your differentiation service solves. If you're going after accounts that have really high X-mods and you're going to try and personally reach out to the underwriters, or rather the adjusters, and see about getting some of these claims closed, maybe even seeing if there are errors on the X-mod worksheets, working with the WCIRB to potentially have some of these things recalculated, create it, show the service to your insured, show them what a basic expectation is going to be so that they can see the value of it. Also, another place in which to really figure out what type of a service would be good is to do something like what my drywall contractor client did. He began to realize that he just is tired of spending $5,000 every year to pay for forklift training. Well, wherever one of your clients is spending money, if you can help them not spend that money anymore, that's valuable. That's like lowering their costs on insurance, except it's not even insurance related. So if you can find out where they're getting caught, where they're spending money, where they're having to do something themselves, and then you simply just take that on, it can be very, very beneficial. I have done services like this for general contractors where the differentiation service would be me actually handling and monitoring subcontractor additional insured certificates of insurance so that I could see all the subs that were on their jobs. I could see what kind of certificates were being offered, and I could see, even take a look at their list of exclusions and so forth to see whether or not they actually had some legitimate coverage on the policy. But I would be there helping the general contractor to make sure they had the proper additional insured, the right sort of wording, everything was done right, going through and making sure that the roofing contractor actually had coverage for roofing. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the general contractor or anybody at the general contractor's office knows what they're looking for in regards to that type of stuff for insurance? Probably not. The bigger general contractors, yeah, they realize it now, and so they spend money to hire somebody like that. But the average general contractor, no, they don't know how to do it. And so you can make a lot of money doing that as a fee for service for these clients, or simply sign over your insurance to us. We become your agent, and it's something that we will provide for you free of charge. Now, with regards to the competitive differentiation, you can even do something as simple as this. And this is what I would say you should be doing anyway. But even if you didn't have some kind of differentiation service, you should do this and make it your differentiation service. It comes down to negotiation. when you go out to the market and you're going out to the carriers, how are you ensuring that you're going to get the lowest price possible with those underwriters? This is one of the biggest concerns that an insurance buyer has when they're talking to their agents, is because they don't feel like they're going to have really good options, or they're not quite feeling like they understand what's happening behind the scenes, which is a transparency problem for the insurance agents. And so they feel like they're being used. But then also a lot of insurance buyers just feel like I'm not going to have options when my actual quotes come up. Like I'm just going to be stuck with this one carrier, or maybe two options, and that's it. So what you can do is you can create, in regards to your timeline of services, and oh, by the way, you have a timeline of services, right? I mean, I sure hope you have a timeline of services. If you don't, you better get one as quickly as possible, because you will set more appointments, win more broker of record letters, and win more business in a competitive renewal process if you have one. But simply having a renegotiation strategy with underwriters, when quotes are received, you go back to actually renegotiate with the winning underwriter to drive down the cost so that the insured understands that they got the best price possible from that underwriter compared to any other agent in the competitive process. You helped them, you assure them that you are getting the lowest price possible through your competitive renegotiation process. So you have to itemize it. Outline it for the insured so they can see what your process is. How many weeks in advance will you be submitting the submission to the carriers? By the way, which carriers are you going to go to? Do you ever show your prospects that? You should. They will feel more comfortable if you have, maybe a list of 17 different insurance carriers that you're going to send it to: standard markets, wholesale, property, work comp, everything. List all the carriers you're going to go to. Helps the insured to feel very confident, so they probably aren't going to talk to other insurance agents because they hate the process themselves more than you do. They don't want to talk to other insurance agents. But show them the list of the carriers. Show them how you're going to go to the marketplace. Show them potentially even what your submission is going to look like, what it will include, and so forth, and how you are going to show up maybe 10 days in advance with quotes in hand, how you're going to go and back and renegotiate with the other underwriters that you're thinking are going to win the business, so that then they have the least premium possible on these quotes. It is a simple aspect of competitive differentiation. So if you don't have it, you should get it. Now, can I do a transition here? I want to do a transition. You good? Some of you may have known some people who went through my Permission Producer School back in October of last year. Well, I'm going to be doing another one now here in February. It's going to be at the end of February. Go to my website at permissiongroup.com. You will see right there that we're going to be having another Permission Producer School. So it's actually a producer school. It's training. It's sales training. It's all sales training. It's not anything that has to do with teaching you policy language like some of those producer schools that are out there. They serve a purpose. It's just not a very good purpose, frankly. My producer school specifically teaches you everything from A to Z on what you need to do in order to set more new business accounts, figure out what type of business to go after, how to win broker of record letters, and how to win if you have to go through a quoting process. It is a producer school that is very intense inside of a 1 week period. So we do it for a couple of hours a day for over the course of a week. We go through the entire process, this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And frankly, I feel like it's very good. I have a number of testimonials from people who've already gone through it. Some of them have said that they even had broker of record letters secured on new business before the class was done in the week. I have some clients who have told me that, over the last couple of months, that since they have now gone through it, they have well close to about 12 new clients by broker of record letter because of how they have set up now their prospecting approach from what they've specifically learned in my Permission Producer School. Go check it out. Registration is there on my website. The cost is there, what it's going to be, and so forth. Love to have you come into the Permission Producer School, which is going to be at the end of February this year, 2025. My name is Charles Specht. I am the president and CEO of Permission Network, where I teach and train insurance agents just like you how to build a $1 million or more book of business through signed broker of record letters. This is the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast.